there was this one day in my childhood, and my childhood wasn't like perfect or anything, but it wasn't really that bad. It was just kind of if anything, I guess it was just kind of boring until I got in my teen years, and then it just kind of got really confusing. But my childhood, which I'd say started like 3 and ended when I was about 10. Those were some good years, man. I would say those were some good years. You know something, man? I'll never get them back, man. No amount of videos that were took back then. No amount of knowing the same people that I do now. No amount of looking at old toys I had. Going back to the old house. Playing in the same yard, it's not going to bring me back to that. It's all gone, man. Oh, it's all gone. Those are the days I'd say that were before things got really crazy, man. Where I had to pick things, where I had to make decisions, where I had to decide what I was going to look like. And I remember waking up one day. I had to have been maybe 6 or 7. 6 or 7. And it was an average day, right? In my childhood, it was just an average day. And I walked downstairs from my room was in the second floor. I walked down. It was like a Saturday, and I must have been in like first grade or second grade. And I walked down the stairs, and I saw my family in the living room, and my mom was cooking breakfast, and my dad was just kind of chilling in his recliner, and it was like, oh, maybe, God, what year was it? 91, 92, maybe? Something like that. 92. I walked down there, and for no particular reason at all, I looked at my mom. She was making, like, pancakes or something. And I walked in the living room, and I picked a spot on the floor, and I started watching cartoons or whatever was on there, and everybody was in a pretty jovial mood, and I just had this feeling that said, today is one of the best days you'll ever have in your life. And I was like 6 or 7. And the voice said, today is one of the best days you'll ever have. And it was like, it's just a regular Saturday in 1992, but I remember I looked up. I looked all around. I tried to really take it in. I looked around. I looked at what was on the TV, and I think it was like I don't know what show it was, but it was some like science show, some kid's science show, and I looked up at the skylight, and I saw the light coming through, and I saw the light covering my whole house, shining on my mom making breakfast and making us pancakes, and my parents were still together, of course, back then. And, just everybody was in a good mood. It was nothing important. It was nothing important at all. It was just a very easy day, plucked out of a year, plucked out of a life. It's just the smells of breakfast being made. Just knowing that I was taken care of, my parents were there, and that it was going to be a carefree day. I think it was like springtime, maybe approaching summer, and I just knew that everything was right. I didn't have to know who I was or what I was doing. I remember all the music that ties into all these feelings, like Van Morrison, Emmylou Harris, Bonnie Raitt, some Led Zeppelin. What else was there? Neil Young, definitely Neil Young, because I lived in Michigan. I lived in western Michigan, in country land. And I lived next to a cornfield. Sometimes it was a soybean field, but it would go back and forth through the years. And I lived in the country, and my road was a dirt road for years and years and years until about the time I was in high school, and then they decided they were going to pave it. And I had all kinds of adventures. The only way I knew how to have fun was to go out in my woods and to search for little animals and you know search for bones and I mean even just finding like a stray golf ball was like cool. I had a tree house. I built it with my dad. It was out in the woods, not too far from the house. The cornfield. It was just a very vast amount of land. You have to understand. It was like cornfield in front of you. It's all you could see. Maybe like a barn, like a couple houses. And then to your right, over the dirt road, there was like more cornfield, more things to discover. It's just like woods. People had acres of woods. People had acres of farmland, and there were some cows at the end of the dirt road, and there were some horses and things, and it was all very, very, very wholesome.